Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS producer Sydney Bowles, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanek, Robert Paris, and John Vias, Peter Brown with the weather, and Gretchen Carey with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. The Burlington Police Department is significantly upgrading its drone technology with the purchase of a new $13,000 device. According to the department, Burlington became a leader in the region when it purchased its first drone in 2017 and has used it for missing persons flights, inspecting water towers, and other public safety missions. But the drone is outdated and can no longer fly in inclement weather and only has battery life of 29 minutes. Burlington Select Board member Jim Tigas says the new drone could help the department in future missing person cases.
Mr. Chairman, what brings us here today is back in February when it was windy and cold and we had a resident go missing. And unfortunately, it wasn't a good outcome and we lost a resident. And I inquired later, did we use the drone? And I was found out that because it's so old and it's so outdated that it doesn't fly in the cold and windy weather, where we had a resident missing in cold and windy weather. And I thought that was awful that we really had something we couldn't use.
The missing person case Selectman Tigas was mentioning was Kaylin Rose, who was found deceased on February 18. She was 49 years old. The new drone, an M30T from the company DJI, has a longer flight time, stronger wind resistance, quicker battery charging, and more sophisticated zoom technology. The Burlington Board of Health's efforts to clean up standing water in a parking lot continues as the property owner says a protected fish has put the drainage work on hold. The property is at 111 Middlesex Turnpike, where there's a Staples and some other stores, and the Board of Health has concerns about floating trash and bubbling standing water, and says the standing water is breeding ground for mosquitoes that could carry disease. They originally asked the property owner, Brixmor, to clean up the site by April or May, but representatives for Brixmor acknowledged the work hasn't been done. Mark Vaughn, an attorney for Brixmor, says the company intended to clean the basin by spring, but they learned the area is a habitat for the protected species bridal shiner fish. Didn't know they were here. So they needed a special permit to clean up the water. He says by the time they got the permit, it was breeding season for the fish, so now they have to wait until September. Here's Mark Vaughn.
You know, I'm not sure what the delay was in terms of why the permit took as long as it did for the state to issue, but that's kind of the situation we're in. Kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, or caught between a fish and a pond, I guess.
The company is slated to be back before the board on its August 22nd meeting. In good news for dog lovers, the Board of Health recently approved 2 restaurants to allow dogs at some outdoor seating, the first such variances issued in Burlington. The 2 restaurants are Common Craft and Jack's Coal-Fired Pizza. The process mirrors what's being done in Boston. Regulations haven't changed, but restaurant owners can be granted special permission, assuming they can meet 20-something conditions. Restaurants must provide a separate entrance for pet-friendly dining so no animals are ever indoors. They must post a sign clearly outlining pet owners' responsibilities. They must provide hand sanitizer and a designated receptacle for pet waste. And they must avoid storing or preparing food in dog-friendly dining areas, among other conditions. The Board of Health spent time in its most recent meeting debating the specifics of how to keep dogs and diners safe. Let's have a listen.
There are 10 tables. How many tables? And I think we should think of not the number of dogs. How many tables do we want a dog at?
Maybe you want to limit it to a limit of so many dogs per table, not to exceed a total of so many dogs at one time on the patio. If you're concerned about the number of dogs per table. So
I'm assuming if they're all on one table, all the dogs already get along. But, you know.
Burlington Public Schools Superintendent Eric Conti met his professional goals according to his annual evaluation. Averaged across all 5 school committee members' separate rankings, Conti was found proficient in instructional leadership, exemplary for management and operations, proficient for family and community engagement, and proficient for professional culture with an overall average of proficient. Concerns listed were an apparent lack of consistency across elementary schools, a need for more focus on measurable instructional goals, and a need to focus on catching up on unfinished learning due to the pandemic. Narratively, the school committee found Conti to be a strong, dedicated leader who keeps things in perspective while maintaining a calm, thoughtful, and kind manner. Burlington's conversation about the future of its elementary schools as the school committee prepares to hold townwide information session next week. The event will include an overview of what the Elementary School Building Committee is sending to the state agency that helps rebuild schools. That includes a description of all the educational programming offered in the schools, and based on that, what kind of space the new school would need. The committee is sending in two versions of those plans, one for a rebuilt Fox Hill School for 325 students, and one for a much larger school for 640 students that would combine Fox Hill and Pine Glen. No decision has been made on the future of the schools at this time. The forum is virtual and will be held on Tuesday, July 11 from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Details on how to attend are available on our website at bcattv.org/events. In a battle between the police and fire departments, the police have prevailed. The battle was over who could get the most contributors to donate blood to the Red Cross, and it was the 6th annual competition in town. This year, a total of 59 units of blood was collected. In total, the police have won Battle of the Badges 4 times, and the fire department has won twice. Excuse me. Revelers at Burlington's July 4th parade didn't let the gloomy weather get them down. BNEWS reporter John Vias has the rundown on the festivities.
Land of the free, home of the brave. The birth of our nation was celebrated on Tuesday, July 4th. With the occasional showers of rain, Burlington's annual Independence Day parade rolled down Wynn Street once again for eager spectators.
We had so many people in the streets. They had their umbrellas. They were, trash bags and raincoats. And I saw some children with their boots on. They were ready to go. The turnout was tremendous.
A great parade grows over time and starts with fundraising. This year, a Venmo profile was created by Treasurer Christine Kim, making it easier for those interested in contributing to bringing a longtime town favorite back to life.
Well, in 2 weeks, just 2 weeks since we put our Venmo out there, we raised $750 from just small, residents of the community. Some $5 donations, some $10 donations, some larger ones. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who donated. That's what's going to get us all the exciting stuff we'd like to do next year.
And when the 5th of July rolls around, the parade committee is back at work, making preparations for next year.
We'll talk about what our goals are going to be, the things we'd like to include for next year, see what we have to do to get our budget set up and in line so that we can do all the wonderful things we'd like to do, one of which is a laser show done by drones. It's similar to fireworks, but it's done by drones in the air. Looks so incredible. I can't wait to get more information on that and see if we can get that done. But the work is hours and hours of work, and it starts in July for next year. And as we go along, it gets more and more, and we have a good group going right now, though. Very appreciated. Not that we can't use more. We can always use more.
Be sure to catch full coverage of Burlington's annual 4th of July parade right here on BCAT, hosted by Gretchen Carey and Chris Rose. And don't miss the annual episode of Linda McNamee's Something to Talk About, as Linda and crew ride down Wynn Street. From the American Legion Post 273, this is John Vias for BNews.
Burlington is getting a new business that's offering music lessons all about rock, and it's starting with a rock and roll summer camp. BNews producer Sydney Bowles has more.
Tune your guitar and warm up your vocal cords, a new business in Burlington is teaching kids to rock out.
So it's a camp for kids who have no experience. They're from 7 to 13 years old. And the idea is to bring them in and teach them to play a couple songs as a band by the end of the week.
The camp is part of School of Rock Burlington, a music school that's so new in town, the walls aren't even built yet. So until the space is finished, Summer Rock Camp is taking place in St. Barbara's Parish in Woburn.
So what you saw was them working on their first songs in bands. So there's groups of 5 kids playing in this band. They get kind of assigned based on some stuff we've done prior to that, to play drums or keyboards or sing, and we assign them relatively simple songs. So you heard us doing Leonard Skinner's Simple Man. And then the Bob Dylan song, Knocking on Heaven's Door. So we also do a little, we're trying to do a lot through the songs, meaning there's a little piece of rock history there and the origins of music stuff. So we're always trying to mix that in and teach those kinds of skills. And it just comes out naturally when you address a song as opposed to a scale or a particular skill.
And why rock?
Look, I'm not sure that there's anything natively more fun about it, I wouldn't, if someone comes to me and says, why is School of Rock great? I wouldn't say it's because it's better than traditional, violin lessons or something like that. It's just different, and it speaks, I think, to a different kind of person, maybe. I do think there's an enthusiasm to playing popular music, that's for sure. Not necessarily even rock and roll, but popular music, because when you sing a Taylor Swift song, all the people around you relate to you immediately. They've heard that song too. Whether you like Taylor Swift or not, that's the effect culturally of music.
When it's not summer, School of Rock Burlington will offer private music lessons and group band practice for students 6 and up. Rockin' and rollin', I'm Sydney Bowles.
The array of dining destinations in Burlington is Smith & Wollensky, which we've told you about before. They call themselves America's Steakhouse. BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak paid them a visit.
America's Steakhouse, Smith & Wollensky, has opened its doors in Burlington.
Smith & Wollensky's wanted to come to a suburban area, and Burlington's the perfect spot for that. If you think about it, Boston's what Massachusetts is known for. Burlington's probably number 2 at this point. After the past 10 years, it's blown up from residential to businesses like biotech. If you just go down Mall Road or Middlesex District, there's places everywhere to go to, from restaurants to residential areas to a lot of businesses. We feel like Smith & Wollensky's will do a really great job with that, especially for our lunch business as well. We see there's a lot of companies having problems to find places to go for lunch, especially fine dining, and we feel like we're going to do great with that. We see Burlington is such a huge area for families in a suburban area. Then also the residents can come in for, a night out or grandma's birthday. And you see a lot of foodies here, and we feel like Smith & Wollensky is doing a great job with that. So we're mostly known for our swing tomahawk, 44 ounces, and that's why it's a crowd pleaser, and it's for the whole restaurant to see. So it wheels out, everybody brings out their phone with Instagram and TikTok. We cut it at table side, we have a big torch, so we torch the beef tallow on it, it drips right onto the potatoes, it's just delicious. You come here for great steak, good time, we serve steak with personality. We're not gonna bore you, we're not here just to take orders, we wanna have fun. So one thing that makes us really unique is our Caviar and Bubbles program. So caviar's been around for a while, but it's still, it's still new to a lot of people, and people fare away. So we want it approachable, in Smith & Wollensky with a big brand, America's Steakhouse, we have some caviar too. It's really nice.
Smith & Wollensky is looking to become a part of the Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, so Rick invited me. Very excited to be a part of it. Smith & Wollensky, Burlington, and just me as a whole want to contribute to the community as much as possible and give in any way we can. We're really excited to be a part of this community, as we said, and we're very excited to be here and contribute as much as possible.
From Smith & Wollensky, Burlington, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
School may be out for the summer, but there's no bad time to learn about the critters that call the Burlington Science Center their home. This time, Science Center Director Wendy Pavlicek introduces us to some of the ickiest creepy crawlers she has and tells us why we really shouldn't be afraid of them after all. Sydney Bowles has this story.
Finding a cockroach in your kitchen is a recipe for a bad afternoon, but finding a Madagascar hissing cockroach in the Burlington Science Center is just another day. Wendy Pavlicek says cockroaches are pretty misunderstood.
Cockroaches are dirty, right? Well, If you were to look at all the animals that we have in here, these cockroaches are the cleanest animals we have. Crawling on this cockroach are little tiny other insects called mites. And these mites clean the cockroach 24 hours a day and night. So these cockroaches love to live in filth and dirtiness because they clean that filth and dirtiness up, but them themselves are actually one of the cleanest animals.
Burlington students learn about cockroaches in a 3rd grade class on life cycles and heredity.
Within one species of animal, our Madagascar hissing cockroaches, even though they're all the same cockroach, you can see individual differences, what we call variation. So each group of students, they work in groups of 2s or 3s, get their own cockroach in a petri dish. And their task is to observe like a scientist. So they sketch their cockroach, they draw it and label it, and they have to list all the traits that they think their cockroach makes it unique. All of the students end up, naming their cockroach Bob or George or Sally or whatever it might be. And even those students that are really nervous, that initial shock of, me teaching them about what they are and their purpose, I have not had many students that weren't able to participate. They all get excited, and they're often sad even when their cockroach has to leave after the lessons. Again, it's for me, it's teaching students that all living things have a purpose in life, and that we treat all living things with care and respect, no matter how big, little, or small or uncomfortable it makes you. And the more you learn about something, the more you open up your mind and your heart to things, the more you become more comfortable with them.
I can just imagine the reaction of seeing one of those things in your kitchen. Looks like we may finally be getting some summer weather this week. Let's check in with meteorologist Peter Brown for the forecast, and to be sure to stay tuned for your community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. Hope you all had a very happy 4th. I know it's been very hard to shake this really humid and rainy pattern that we've been seeing in the Burlington area for now getting on to almost 6 weeks here. And unfortunately, it looks like this pattern is going to continue as we go into the next really 10 to 15 days, unfortunately. As we start our period on Friday, we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year in the mid-80s, and that's pretty much where we're going to be right on through the end of next week. Might be a little bit cooler as we head into the latter portions of the weekend and the start of the work week. Temperatures are still going to be a little bit cooler than we really want to see for those of us who really like that real summertime warmth. As we get to the end of our period again, average highs at this time of the year are pretty much topping out. This is really the warmest it gets for the year. Right after we get by these next couple of weeks, our high temperatures start to head down as we head in towards the end of July and into August. And our temperatures, though, don't worry about any cold air coming in. It's going to be pretty nice out there. Temperatures still in the 80s. And of course, now that we are into July, you're going to be noticing as we get in towards the next couple of weeks, you're going to notice that length of day starting to shorten as we head further into summer. So as you go ahead, let's take a look at the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperatures and precipitation over the next 7 to 10 days. And again, looking at our temperature map, pretty much what you see is what you get, what we've been seeing here in the Burlington area, like I've said, for the past 5 to 6 weeks. Slightly average temperatures. I think it's going to be a little bit below average out there, and our precipitation chances are well above average. So again, doesn't look like we're going to have to be worrying about any drought this summer, unlike what we saw at this time last year. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at those 7 days of weather coming up. And again, there's really not too much I can say about the weather here. It is pretty much going to be the same right from Friday straight out through next Thursday. That chance of showers each and every day as we get in towards the beginning of the work week. We may see a little bit more in the way of steadier rain. We're going to have to keep an eye on that, but temperatures pretty warm on Friday in the upper 80s out there. Then the temperatures are going to start to cool off a bit as we start to get more of an easterly component to the wind out there, with temperatures staying pretty much in the upper 70s to low 80s for the next 4 days after that, and then getting up into the mid 80s by Thursday, again with those chance of showers. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, keep that umbrella handy, and have a great week.
Hi, I'm Amy Poehler, and you're watching BCAT. Go Red Devils.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your community calendar. On July 12th from 7 to 8 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having an evening with best-selling author Lisa C. Pre-registration is required for this Zoom event. Also on July 12th from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m., Stonebridge in Burlington will be having a Veterans Barbecue. RSVP is required. For more information and to register, go to burlingtonchamberofcommerce.org. On July 13th from 1 to 2 p.m., the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having a children's show at Simons Park with Peter Cannizzaro. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your Community Calendar.
A full calendar of events is available on our website at bcattv.org/events. Also, you can get a full calendar of events at the public library at the library's website. As summer gets into full swing, Burlington Board of Health Director Ed Weiner has some advice for staying healthy. Let's have a look.
Well, when you go places like the beach or hiking, please remember to bring your sandwich. That is S for sunscreen, and A-N-D. D, don't forget life preservers, life jackets, and even a hat. W, wash your hands a lot. I, insect repellent. C, seatbelts, car seatbelts. And H, lots of water, hydration. And most of all, be safe and have fun. And if you think of anything else for this acronym, please email me or give me a call.
As we do every week, we're wrapping up with a photo sent in by a member of the community. This one sent in a few weeks back before the leaves bloomed from Mary Leach. She says some believe that when you see a cardinal, it's a visit from a loved one who has passed away. She believes. Thanks, Mary. If you have a photo you'd like to share, email it to us at bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay, that's it for our show this week. We want to leave you with a montage of the baseball tournament, a regional tournament here in Burlington. Burlington lost 13-9, but they'll be advancing to the regionals next week. Thank you for joining us.